Hi all, welcome to Informatica support videos. My name is Sharan, and in today's video I'm going to walk you through the task troubleshooting techniques. So let's get started with your today's agenda. So our agenda would be, so first I'll give you the introduction about tasks, then what are the configuration checkpoints for the task, and when you come through the issue what logs needs to be checked, and working with Informatica what common issues you might face, and followed which I will give you a demo, and then we'll summarize the concepts. So we'll start with the introduction. So MDM supports Activa's workflows which contains human tasks or action. So whenever you want to do any, like there are tasks in MDM usually configured for the reviewing, merge, unmerge process. Apart from this, tasks can be created for the HM related actions. Okay. So what are the configurations we need to check when you face any issue, or every setup was working and you face some issues? So first status would be you go to the ActiveOS and check the server status. It should be up and running. Then you can go to the ActiveOS console and check for the identity services where you have configured the user and that user test should be successful. Then you can go to the ActiveOS users and see if there is a proper role assigned to it. And most probably, like there are like users in the ActiveOS which are not getting picked up properly from app server side, so you can check that path is correct or not. And the CMX server properties which contains number of tasks should be shown to the particular user, and what is the workflow you are using, that is IDD based or BE based. So those things you can check with the CMX server properties. So whenever you face the issue, like Informatica support needs to be checked with the logs. So what are the logs are helpful in resolving those issues will be. So you can go to the ActiveOS console, check for the logging properties which will come into the admin tab, and there will be a file location, and that file location has the logs collected, what are all the events has happened on the ActiveOS side. And most probably the triggering part would be the TMX server, and then I'm following with the app server logs for the particular timestamp. And so more in a pictorial way, you can go to the ActiveOS console, open the workflow, and you can see the at particular point of time what exception you got. So there are particular tables in ActiveOS which will be helpful to understand the issues and most commonly used tables. So the first table is AE before P task. So where you'll get all the task details from the database. AE process, which will store individual process level details. AE process log data, which will store all these full data for the troubleshooting of particular process. So another table is AE system log, which will capture all system related changes. Same can be seen in the ActiveOS console under the monitor tab. So we'll discuss about the common issues. So most of the times, like tasks are not visible on the UI, which is most commonly seen scenario. So second type of scenario might be tasks are getting faulted even though you have working setup. Then we come up with like wrong assignment of the tasks in the most of the in the merge task, and there are some points where you are able to uh, see the task, but you are not able to do any action on top of it like claim open the task. So we'll start with our demo. Yeah, so we logged into the one of the hub console. So if you see this configuration at the master database level, we are at the workflow manager. So there are the different workflow manager like workflow adapters we have. So here if you see, this is a BE based and this is SA based. So you need to define the workflows and which is for which ORS it is registered. So when you create a engine, so you see here the protocol is HTTP and the username is ActiveOS, and you can test the connection from here. So this connection should be tested successfully. First check. So okay, this is working fine. So you can go to the here in the ORS section, so where I would see this B based active OS, and this is my customer 360 ORS, bound to the customer 360 ORS, and this is the RDM hub, where also I have the same B active OS. And where is the secondary workflow is Cyprian, take care of the old task which is defined by the Cyprian. So we will go to the ActiveOS console now, and we'll see what are all the useful properties we have to the troubleshooting. So first of all, you go to the server status, see the server status, it should be running, and all the services should be up and running for this. If it is not running, then you need to start the server from this button. Right now it's a stop server, so you can start the server from here and check the status later point of time. Now later point of time, if you want the logging properties where I can get the logs, what is getting logged into the ActiveOS side when I face the issue. So these are the properties in the configure server. So here we need to define the logging level. In most of the cases, when it's a production down scenario or something, so we will not allow you to go with the verbose because it logs in more messages. But to troubleshoot, you need to select this verbose, and you can logging level you can give as a full, and just enable this log all messages. And you can, if you go to this location, there should be a folder structure created, and just update this. So whatever the actions I do from the ActiveOS side, this will get all the request and response will go to this location. Okay, now first of all thing, whenever you got the task issue, you should go to the identity services, so which is communication from the MDM to ActiveOS. So here you should make sure the provider type should be MDM selected here. When you do a MDM and ActiveOS integration setup, this will come automatically and this should be enabled. Now there should be a user for the identity service which created, and you can update these password fields. And when you go to the test, if I say configured user, so this is my configured user. If I test setting, this test should be successful. So in that case, my MDM request and ActiveOS are in sync. That means when you go here, and if your login, your user test is failing, so you need to check why it's failing, and then accordingly you can update the password and test again. So this is the mandatory thing to see any error or something. Okay, now I will detail you about the CMX server.properties file, which properties needs to be taken care of. So I am here in the CMX server.properties. So most of the times merged tasks are not coming onto the UI. So for that point of time, right, so for that, this SIP assignment task interval, this should be enabled. Okay, so if you give it a 0, so it is like the task will not come onto the picture, but this should be enabled. This is the most important thing you need to check. And for a particular user, maximum assignment is 25 tasks. So maybe you will get the like tasks are not coming up when there are still tasks in the bucket. So you can check the threshold on these fields. And whenever you start the application server, so after 10 minutes the task assignment will start. So this property says that. So maybe after start, suddenly user can say I am not able to see the task, but then you need to wait for this 10 minutes, or you can configure according to your environment. Okay, so and the configuration point of right, so when if you see the JBoss configuration, I have the standalone full.xml. So here this security domain for ActiveOS, this should be in this way, where this user properties file should point to the correct directory for the application user.properties, and these roles properties should be pointing to the correct. So most of the times the application server it's not able to pick these details, so we might get the issues where you are not able to see the tasks on the console. So another property file will be application roles.properties, in which we define the ActiveOS user and these are the tasks from the ActiveOS console, like ActiveOS side, like AB admin, AB task client, AB service consumer, and AB trust. These four roles should be assigned that to that particular user in order to take action on particular task, and you can able to log into the console from the ActiveOS, and you can see most of the data like and if you see the monitor here, so you can see the active processes with the AB admin role. Okay, so most of this time if you your task get faulted state, so you just open any tasks. Okay, and you can go to the particular module, say your task is failing at particular point of time, so now it's running task, so I can come here, I can see the details. So you can go to the process task request, see the request. If you see any discrepancy here, you can correct it out, or you can check what are the points we need to check. So these are the details you can check, and in the response you will get the error if you have any error over here. Okay, so to summarize today's session, so task issue can occur due to following reasons. Okay, so there might be incomplete configuration at MDM side. So first reason might be no workflow engine registered at help console, or invalid mapping to the ORS, or there may be a network connection where you test the workflow, the test connection fails. Invalid task configuration IDD or provisioning tool in the case where you have the task types and triggers where you have the wrong configuration, that might lead to the task issues. So incorrect task details, like you need to give the ORS ID, which is case sensitive. You need to add these details on case sensitive basis. So second point may be wrong configuration at ActiveOS side. So as I shown, the ActiveOS service identity service is not configured properly. No admin user and password is defined at the identity services, and there might not be a BPR registered at the ActiveOS console. So from the container side, this is the third point where wrong rules for the ActiveOS console user at the container level. So for the references part, I have attached few of the KBs which will be helpful for how to configure the tasks from BE ActiveOS workflow, and if there is at all a issue, there are few checkpoints we given in the below KB article. So we would like to hear you and you can put your comments on these below links. Thank you.